Hello there. Today I decided to do a Amagi commentary. I've recently unlocked the ship and I quite enjoyed it a lot. It's a lot of fun and I think this game turned out to be a pretty good example of the value of angling your armor and timing your turns. At this moment I'm I can't remember what this map was called. North? Was it North? I can't remember. But I'm pushing up. In this case, I get detected by the planes, which is obviously a bit of a risk. So I'm turning my ship slightly more towards the enemy. So in case there's a battleship that is targeting me right now because I'm detected, he'll have a much harder time hitting my citadel, hitting my broadside. I'm angling myself towards the opponent to make myself the smallest possible target. That's very basic, and people should know this by T8, but it's usually a bit questionable. This case, an Ioba is a perfect target. He's giving me a fair amount of broadside. I'm actually going to continue my full turn, as I see all their battleships are basically pointing straight south. None of them have arcs on me, so if they try to shoot me now, they'll be highly unlikely to hit me. So I'm going to continue my turn. I did some nice damage to him, about 7,000 damage. You see, someone tried to shoot me. My angled armor just repelled all the damage, so not a problem. I think that's a battleship trying to shoot me, but because of the angle I'm sailing at, I'm basically sailing sideways away from them. They have a very hard time hitting me. Meanwhile, thanks to the excellent firing angles on this ship, I can still bring my full broadside to bear on the Ioba. And I did another 7,000-8,000 damage, and the Ioba is pretty much dead, so I'm going to ignore him. Now I'm going to turn closer to the New Mexico, because as you can see, I became invisible. Basically, they lost my detection. That's because I obviously used the module that reduces your detection by 20%. That was actually quite close, that he would have gotten a good hit on me, but because I'm constantly turning my ship back and forth, it's pretty hard to get a good bearing in. Now I'm turning away again. You see, I turned right, now I'm turning left again. So if someone shot in between these turns, basically their shots will keep going wide. Yeah, someone shot, but because I turned, most of it went wide, but he actually got one good hit in. I'm not going to waste my repair yet though, because the repair, it repairs light damage, and there's a high chance a good portion of the penetrative damage I just took wasn't light at all. So it would be a waste to use the repair now. I'm gonna wait until I take some additional damage. People often panic and pop the repair straight away. You shouldn't. Save it. Sturpitz is giving me a nice fat broadside. He's still trying to shoot me, but the way you see how hard it is for him to get a good shot on me because of the way I'm angled. Whereas he's giving me a perfect broadside, so I have a very easy time landing some shots on him. I got a bit unlucky. I landed 7 shots, but I didn't really do that much damage. But it still scared the shit out of him, and he's turning away now. I'm keeping my angle. Of course, it's the Amagi is fairly far away, so I'm not too scared of him. He's beyond my range, or beyond the Amagi's range. If he would shoot me, it would be because he uses spotting plane. I'm turning slightly more away though. Once again, constantly changing my course. They have 2 destroyers. They have a Benson and a Fubuki, and they haven't been spotted on the minimap at all, so there's a high chance that they might be here because this is a very popular side of the map. So that's why I'm constantly shifting my course, shifting my speed, basically making sure I never ever go in a direct straight line at a constant speed. You can go in a direct line if you have a really good angle, but if you do that, then you have to adjust your speed constantly. Because if you don't, then some destroyer is going to have a field day, launching a full volley of torps at you and just basically blowing you out of the water. The best counter to destroyers is just constantly either shifting speed or shifting course. The problem is though, the Benson is visible now, but the Fubuki still isn't. And the problem is it makes it very hard to push up, because basically they have all their battleships here. So to push up here, I would have to push through all their battleships, 2-3 cruisers, and possibly the Fubuki hiding somewhere. So this turns it into a bit of a stalemate, especially since we're outnumbered on our side. since our team is flanking from the right. or well, from the east. So this turns into a bit of a line fighting. But line fighting is something you can easily win, especially against battleships that sail wrong. This guy, you see, he's giving me a perfect broadside. It's something you should never do. Oh yeah, the Fubuki is here. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 9 torps. That was the Fubuki. This is why it's good to constantly change your course. The Cleveland ate a bunch of torps because he wasn't changing his. Now you see, this is a bad angle for me now because the North Carolina popped into range. Because if I would have kept this angle, I would have given the bow to the Amagi and the Tirpitz, but perfect broadside to the North Carolina. So once again, I turn my ship because you never ever want to be at an angle where you're giving a perfect broadside to anyone. You always want to angle your armor. So by turning hard left now I instead present the stern to the North Carolina, and as I continue angling my armor, soon, yeah, he tried to shoot me, but because I turned, it all missed. That's what I mean about constantly changing. The Amagi got a good hit in, and now I use my repair. And I got a good angle on him as well. You see how much my repair healed because I waited this long before I used it. It's healing basically up to full HP. The Amagi turned, so he avoided most of the damage. But now this angle I'm at is fairly good. I mean, the Amagi could get a good shot on me, but he's turning away. That's why you always look at the minimap, you see which way they're turning. These guys are turning away, so I'm not afraid to give a bit of broadside to him. And I'm gonna shoot at the Tirpitz. The Amagi is closer, but the Tirpitz is giving me a better broadside, so it's obvious target selection. That volley looks pretty good. Yep, that was some good damage. Now I'm gonna slowly turn around. Basically, we've been starting to put pressure on their base. While we have been basically keeping their entire battleship force occupied, our cruisers and DDs have managed to push up to their base. So this is a good chance for us to start pushing. I just noticed there was apparently a failed division on our team. There's a Myogi in this match, even though it's yeah, there is Myogi in this match, even though it has a bunch of like tier 8s and stuff. So someone's been failed divisioning. This is the time I switch the side of my guns, because now, since I'm pushing up, I don't want to be edge humping, because that's something that shit players do. So instead I point my ship basically towards the North Carolina, and I switch my guns over to the left side. Note that I'm not giving my broadside yet. There's absolutely no point for me to show more broadside than this until my guns are turned. I often see a lot of people turn completely, and then they give a huge fat target while they wait for the guns to turn. You should never do this. Wait until your guns have finished turning, then you can turn fully. Or well, never fully, but more. You see I'm still waiting patiently for my guns. They turn very slowly on battleships, so you have to have a bit of patience. Okay, you see now my guns are finally coming in. Use the first 2 shots as a homing shot, see, to get his speed down and his angle. And now I shoot the 3 remaining cannons. Once again, as soon as I've shot, I turn left, because I don't want to be giving this much broadside to the battleships. That was a fairly decent hit. And once again, I'm angled optimally. And I can use my front cannons again. You always want to angle your ship. In this case, there are 4 battleships in front of me, who could basically, oh that was a good hit, who could basically all shoot me. But because I'm constantly turning and switching course, they have a hard time getting good hits on me. Basically, the only time they have a chance to get a good hit in is when I turn and use my stern guns. Oh, there we go, finally the Citadel. Tirpitzes are notoriously painful to Citadel. The Fubuki is still around here. But I'm constantly changing course, and it makes it very hard for him to gauge the correct place to use his torps. Let's see if I can take this Tirpitz out. That Amagi just shot, so that means I'm gonna fully turn. I'm gonna take this chance to completely turn around now. because it's risky pushing up this much because I'm alone here, and I will be pushing up into 6 ships basically. The Benson is there as well, so 7 ships I would be pushing up alone. Like, you can be aggressive. Like, well, I'm pushing into 13 kilometer range, so I got a good chance of landing hits and stuff. But there's such a thing as being stupidly aggressive, and if I would have continued pushing, I would eventually have gotten to the point where I would have been forced to give broadside to someone constantly, because I could no longer angle myself in so many directions. And the moment that happens is when you die, because then you get citadel, then you eat massive damage, and it's just death. So I basically slowed down my push.
Torpedoes, direct front.
Oh, and once again, constantly changing course is good, because you avoid these torps. That's why I consistently do it. This Fubuki, he's probably getting very frustrated, and I don't know if he'll even continue trying to torp me, because he notices that I'm never basically going in a straight line, or if I am, then I'm changing speed. Once again, I'm not using my repair. For one, never use your repair for one fire, especially since the Cleveland is this close. There's a high chance I will get another fire going, and remember, fire is dot damage, and just like flooding, it's all light damage, so I can repair or heal all this health back. So I'm not the least bit worried about one fire. In fact, I'm just gonna push in and try to finish this guy off. Oh, he didn't even turn. I think that was a bit of a dispersion problem. It happens. I'm gonna see if I wanna turn fully around. Nice, the New Mexico shot. The Amagi shot earlier and the New Mexico shot now. So this is my chance to make a full turn. I couldn't turn before this, because if I had, I would have been giving broadside. But because both the battleships just shot, I can turn without worrying about getting citadeled. And now I managed to finish the Cleveland off with my rear guns. And by the time he's reloaded, my armor is already angled, and he can no longer get the easy hits. And now I'm slowing down, because my armor is once again angled, and I'm basically where I want to be. My stern is towards the North Carolina. I'm very tightly angled against the Amagi, and the only one who has a fairly good shot is the New Mexico, and he has the lowest caliber guns of all these people. And the Amagi, unlike me, he gave broadside without waiting for me to fire, so that let me get the perfect broadside hit on him, aka citadel. Now I see torpedo planes in the back. That's a bit dangerous. If they are going for me, there's a high chance they might go for me, so I'm going to continue this turn, even if it means eating some Amagi damage, because I'm pretty sure the Amagi is just running right now, and I want to be able to face the incoming planes. Sailing straight away is one option, sailing straight towards is another. But I want to be aggressive, I want to keep pushing them, because I got them running, or I got the Amagi running, so I want to push the New Mexico while the Amagi is fleeing. You see, I'm constantly making sure A, my ship is angled towards the enemy ships, and B, my ship is angled towards the torpedo planes. He tried to switch, he went right and then he went left, but I'm already turning back left. So if he tries to drop too fast, I will be turning into them too quickly for him. Yep, didn't have time to activate, and I got some good damage on the New Mexico. And this guy didn't have time to activate either, because I'm turning into them. That doesn't work too well against experienced carriers, but against your average carrier player, you can juke him fairly well. Nice, I got some good damage, even though he's in the smoke. The Benson is there and the Fubuki is on my right. So as I can't see the New Mexico, I still want to deal damage, so I'm gonna go for the Benson in this case. You shouldn't underestimate the damage AP shells can do to destroyers. People often don't shoot at all just because they have AP loaded, and that's just dumb, because AP does a lot of damage to destroyers if you get good hits, like really a lot of damage. And I managed to finish off the New Mexico just as I wanted, and it looks like the Amagi got killed as well. Once again, I'm gonna take a shot at this Fubuki. He's keeping a fairly constant course, so I'm just gonna blast all my shells at him. It's 9 kilometers, which is a fairly short range, and there you see, I only hit 2 shells, but I did that much damage. You shouldn't underestimate AP against destroyers. It looks like he's coming for me again with torpedo planes. So while I'm turning my broadside towards the Benson, I'm also turning my bow towards the torpedo planes. That was a good hit. He might turn. I predicted him to turn completely. Let's see if he doesn't. He did. So another huge chunk. You see how much damage AP does. Like, people go, oh, you have to use HE, but you really don't. Because good AP hits do a lot of damage. The advantage with HE is that, in this case I'm turning away from the planes instead of turning towards them. The advantage with HE is that you disable modules. But if you just want to do damage, then AP is just as good. I killed all the planes before they could drop, because he tried to basically get a better drop angle from the side. But I kept sailing away, so he couldn't get that good angle, and while he tried chasing me down, I just shot down his planes. Oh, Benson torps. He shot them from too far away. Benson range is 8.2, and he tried shooting them from 10 kilometers, obviously. More torpedo planes coming. Turning right towards them, of course. Oh, and now the carrier got killed. So he can no longer even drop. They're already flying back, I think. There's only the Benson left. I'm gonna see if I can finish him off. Would be a good ending to the clip. Managed to get high caliber, which is always fairly decent. I'm telling the carrier to spot him. Nice, the carrier sent his plane there. Now I got the vision I wanted. It's a bit faster than I expected, so I adjust my spread. And that's a dead Benson.
Enemy destroyer blown up.
The XP is pretty good, 10k. It's because I got the first win of the day, and I got the Confederate bonus, so it adds up. And the damage is 169,000, a bit more than 169, but still, so far this Amagi ship, I've really been enjoying it. Like, doesn't have, well, actually I think it does have as much firepower as the North Carolina. It doesn't have as good AA, but it has much better armor, especially when you angle it. So far, this ship has been very enjoyable, and that was my Amagi commentary.